coming to get you, Barbara.
Here's some money. Go see a Star War.
But I'm trying, Ringo. I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd.
Welcome back to Long Walk Talks. My name is David Hensley. I am the owner and creative director of Long Walk Productions, and I am here to introduce your hosts, Stan Wilson Lee.
Howdy.
And Chris Wilson Barnes.
And the car.
And that car that's going by.
With a lot of rev.
So it's been a minute since we've all been here, guys. A lot has happened in the last month. It was very important, and you'll find out in a few minutes why, that we get this episode in before the end of July. But first, I got cast in a show and all of a sudden lost my evenings, so we couldn't record for a while. And then Stan went and spent a week in Europe, and then another week in Europe involuntarily.
I was quarantined.
Yep.
In Switzerland. It was awesome.
I was fine the whole time. I didn't have any conflicts. It was you two.
You should have did the shows on yourself then. Shows on yourself.
Yes.
That's how a good team podcast works. Solo.
Exactly. Long Walk Talks, a one-man show.
We could have called in, I suppose.
All right. So, Chris, no, I don't. If we can avoid it, I don't ever want to do another call-in.
What evidence
episode.
do you have that calling in doesn't work on this show?
Yeah, you're right. Let me just review every episode we've ever done where somebody had to call in.
That's actually a Christmas vacation joke.
Ready to Rumble, the Christmas episode for all of the other reindeer.
That worked.
TBD.
Yeah. All right. So, Chris, why don't you tell us, since we're continuing our Perfect Tens discussion, what your third Perfect 10 pick is and why it was important for us to get it in before the end of the month?
Well, it's because if we didn't do it in July, we couldn't have Christmas in July.
All right.
Because we're going to be doing a movie I can't stop referencing, and I don't think I ever will. It's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
A great love of both me and Katie as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Stan, you said this was the first time you watched it, like, beginning to end,
It
right?
must be, because the through lines were weird for me, so it's like I must have only seen it in segments and on TV or something, because it was the first time I got everything compacted, and it was like different for me, so I must have only seen it in segments and stuff. I'm really loud. Everything's really loud. I don't know. It's okay.
Are you hungover?
Well, I'm hungover, but the thing is, my hearing is hypersensitive or something, because I'm super loud.
Yeah.
And you're super loud in my ears. Chris, I think, is the only one not super loud in my ears. Now I just turn myself down so I can hear myself.
What scintillating discussion this is. All right,
Well,
Chris.
Dave, you did adjust something. It did boost the volume.
Yeah, I've been playing around. We're all rusty here. Since the inception of Long Walk Podcast, I have not gone a month without doing this. Since 2018, since almost 4 years ago. Oh my God, we've been doing this for 4 years.
4 years.
So yeah, I mean, like, I sound weird in my headphones.
We need that Simpsons plaque that says, "Don't forget, you're here forever."
Yeah. So anyway, Chris, why don't you kick us off with our first discussion topic?
Well, I will. Since it's part of it, I will start actually with the synopsis. Well, you know what? Let's back it up a little bit. Do you remember the first time you ever saw this movie?
Yes, it was with you.
Really?
Yes, I had never seen it before. I just knew of it through pop culture osmosis, and then we watched it one year, you, me, and Katie, for Christmas, and I fell in love with it. It's become a yearly tradition for the three of us.
I did not realize that you'd never seen it before.
Yeah, thanks to you, we watch Christmas Vacation and Muppet Christmas Carol every year in December.
And you, Stan?
Like I said, it's like, obviously I've only seen it in parts, and I've seen stuff from it for like, since it's come, but I never went to the theater to see it. I've only seen it on like TV and premium channels or whatever. I swear I thought I had seen the whole thing at once before on video or something, but so this might have been the first time I've seen it really intently all the way through in one sitting. So this may have been virgin breaking for me. So
That's weird. I did not realize that because for me, I forget exactly when. It might have been early 2000s where it sort of started becoming a yearly tradition, just because it was something to watch. My mom liked it, and I enjoyed watching it with her, where we would just watch it every year around Christmas as part of like a small Christmas thing between us. And that's the only way I was watching it. And then over the years, I started watching it with you, and it and like you said, Muppet Christmas Carol are my yearly traditions. I end up watching them twice each, because I watch this movie with my mom and you guys, and then I watch Christmas Carol with my friend Jay, and then usually with you guys too. And it just, over time, this movie has just struck me at how I'm just gonna say, it fires on all cylinders for me. In a lot of the ways that people would rewatch something from, say, like the Criterion Collection, this movie for me, since I watch it every year, just usually ends up showing me something I did not notice before. And it's funny because it's like it's just such a simple idea for a movie. Like, if you broke it down to the most basic premise as hard as you could, it would be it's just a man hosts his family for Christmas. That's literally it. That's literally the crux of the movie. But what's genius about it is everything builds, and it's just like, it's a very, very simple idea where everything is built into it, and it just crescendos.
Yeah, and everything that can go wrong does go wrong in this film. You and I were talking on the way over here. The first time we realized that the movie takes place over a 2-week period, Katie and I were both like, what kind of monster is Clark Griswold to have his entire extended family over to his house for 2 weeks? If Katie and I invited our entire families over for 2 weeks, we wouldn't make it to Christmas. Everyone would be dead.
He is a man who is hell-bent, as he says, on having a good old-fashioned family Christmas. Mm-hmm. And he wants every old-fashioned American Christmas thing to happen over this particular Christmas. And they set it up brilliantly in the scene after they set up the Christmas tree, where Clark and Ellen are just laying in bed, and she goes, "I don't want you to basically just go nuts and put." She tells him that he puts too high of an expectation on holiday, and he goes, "When have I ever done that?" And she proceeds to list off every holiday and like social gathering possible that he's ever been a part of. And then, it's a fun little moment where they detail his character, and at the same time they show off his character because he's still covered in sap from getting the tree up. That everything he's touching is now stuck to him.
And they do everything like nonchalant. They don't even react to They don't even react to everything's. His hands are sticking to everything. It even sticks to Ellen's hair when he reaches over to kiss her goodnight, and he pulls her back, and then he gets himself stuck to the lampshade, and he pulls. And she's continuing with the list like nothing's even happening. I really like that convention.
And it speaks a lot to the writing and the characterization that even as things are getting out of control and nuts, you still sympathize with Clark because he wants an ideal. He wants something. He's obsessed about an ideal happening that everybody wants. The idea of where everyone comes into his home and it's a wonderful Christmas season and it's happy and it's homey.
It's a Hallmark card.
He wants that. He wants that moment to happen for his family, which they emphasize when he's stuck in the attic watching old home movies.
Yes.
And it's like, even as things are going wrong and awful, he's still trying to maintain up until the point he can't anymore.
Right.
And I wrote it down here. It's like it's an expert blend on genuine sentiment and genuine cynicism, because they don't hide any of the terrible things about the holidays, which I think is what draws people. What it draws me and what I think draws most people in is like, there's on some level you have that, oh yeah, I know that moment kind of thing, whether it's dealing with family or dealing with situations beyond your control.
She waxes her upper lip.
Yeah, she always has.
She always has.
Ellen, are you smoking?
I like your thing about the cynicism and it's kind of represented, especially in the daughter's reactions to everything, and the fact that the movie opens with her basically getting herself frozen in the quest for the Christmas tree, and it's like, and she's like, "Why are we here? We could do this better."
Again, that's great characterization, because the daughter character is written as being completely over this, does not want to deal with it, but at the same time,
she loves
her family, and she still participates in it because it's important to them.
Yeah. Because I just find I'm not sure if I'm as in love with Clark, because yes, he wants this nice sentimental Hallmark Christmas, but he really doesn't have a problem torturing his family to get it.
Well,
but the reverse of that is that he may be torturing his family, but the most of the torture is on himself.
Exactly. Yeah, he gives as good as he gets.
Right.
I mean, yeah, he's just as much a factor in his own problems as things being thrust upon him. Agreed. Like Cousin Eddie.
Yes, the immortal Cousin Eddie is played by Randy Quaid.
That's a good jumping off point. It's like the cast. I think everyone is absolutely perfect where they are in that movie.
Whether they're old enough for the role or not. Because I was talking to you about William Hickey, right? And it's like, and I was saying he must have been like almost 80. But the fact he died when he was 69, so it's like Prizzi's Honor was after this movie, and he was only in his 50s. So he was only in his 50s, maybe early 60s when he did this movie. So it's like he was still super young, but he's playing. And then his wife, she's supposed to be what, 80 or 90? Lewis's wife, the grandma.
Well, on which side, Clark or Ellen?
I guess it would be Clark's.
Oh, I've never been able to keep track of who's related to
The
who.
one that sings Star Spangled Banner at the end.
Oh no, that's Aunt.
That's Ellen's.
That's Ellen's aunt.
Ellen's aunt.
Like Ellen's aunt or great aunt.
The wife of the guy that blows
Lewis.
everything up.
Lewis and. I did just forget her name.
I want to say May, but it's
Bethany.
not. Bethany.
Aunt Bethany.
Aunt Bethany, yeah.
Yes.
Because she's supposed to be 90, but so yeah, it's like I don't even know if these people are old enough to be, but yeah.
The original voice of Betty Boop, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
Then she was old enough.
Well, no.
See, you tune in for the podcast and you end up learning something.
Well, that's one of those things I went looking. I was like, what else has she been in? And I scrolled that down. So, yeah, she was the original official voice of Betty Boop.
Nice. All right, so our first topic is the cast then.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, like you said, everyone so embodies their role that I honestly cannot pick like a standout or anybody who doesn't deliver.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. It's like it's
To the point, like even the SWAT team officer at the end with his handful of lines still becomes one of my favorite characters in the movie. That's pretty low, mister.
That's pretty low.
That's the police chief.
Yeah.
The police chief.
If I had a rubber hose, I would beat you.
The SWAT commander has one of my favorite parts because he goes, "Nobody move," and Clark goes, "May we blink?"
Yeah, the physical comedy in there, because I think of that and I think of Ellen with her hand on Clark's crotch and then holding it out to shake a hand.
Oh, yeah.
Shake Clark's boss's wife's hand and then immediately puts it back on his crotch.
Well, yeah, because he's like, everybody freeze. She's frozen to the point where she's not even moving her head to shake the hand either. It's like, welcome to our home.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, of course, like Clark Griswold and Ellen Griswold, you know, that's Chevy Chase and it's
Beverly D'Angelo.
Like that of course was set in stone because this is the third movie they've done, and of course Randy Quaid is Cousin Eddie, and I forget her name, but Catherine. Catherine is also the same actress. But yeah, like the choice of the grandparents, the parents / grandparents, and the new kids.
Yeah, it's like because I can tell you I remember and I love the original Vacation, and that's Anthony Michael Hall.
It is, yeah,
as the son, and I thought for sure it's like I'm not gonna like Johnny Galecki, baby Johnny Galecki, as much as I loved Anthony Michael Hall in that role, even though he was a baby. But I ended up really loving Russ in this because he doesn't say much at all, but everything that happens, he's a foil for Chevy's character, for Clark, especially in the mall with Mary. With Mary, and which is
Can't see the lines, can you, Russ?
and when he says, just drop him on the lawn, he's got the reindeers and he literally drops him on the. So it's like, and this is baby Johnny Galecki, remember, and this Johnny Galecki is Russ. Does not set up any of the future Johnny Galecki that we know in Roseanne and in Big Bang Theory. It's like this is a totally different Johnny Galecki.
It's almost as if actors have range.
But the thing is,
some of them.
There's no.
Can you imagine baby Tom Cruise playing Russ?
But the idea that there's no projection of the emo Johnny Galecki we get later. You know, it's like this is just a regular kid, you know, and being in a regular kid role, and it's like, and he's the stuff he does is really, really funny, and his love for Clark, Russ's love for Clark is so evident as well, in it. Even though he gets frustrated with his dad many, many times.
And I'm blanking. Who played the daughter? It's
Juliette Lewis.
Yes.
Juliette Lewis. Yeah. Again, not projecting how she becomes later.
And the grand and I feel bad because I didn't look them up beforehand. I have before, but like the Clark's parents are well. You see where each character gets it from. Like you see where Clark gets it from.
Yes.
John Randolph and Diane Ladd.
Mm-hmm. And then you see Ellen's parents and why she gravitated towards someone like Clark.
Yeah.
Like excuse me. Like you see, when they're on the lawn and he's trying to get the lights going for like the first or second time, and he's starting to freak out a little bit. But Ellen's dad is just like, and his mom. It was I forget her name because you know that actress.
Hold on,
I normally do.
It's
but
Doris Roberts and
Doris Roberts, yeah.
E.G. Marshall.
Yeah, Doris Roberts especially is like she's great at playing that. She's the passive aggressive, and then he's the aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Don't piss me off, Art.
Yeah, Art, and he's just he's just constantly picking at Clark. Just that subtle but obvious disapproval, especially when Clark's daughter speaks up for him. It's like, he worked really hard, Granddad. Right. So do washing machines. It's one of the coldest lines I've ever heard about somebody. Just to utterly dismiss them.
So do washing machines. Except mine.
So I'm in a production of Julius Caesar right now, and there's a scene where Mark Antony is talking to Octavius, and I have to get set to go on for the scene immediately after this. So between changing costumes and everything, I never hear the preceding line. I always seem to walk in to get into place as Antony has the line, so does my horse, Octavius. And that's, I want to use that at some point. Like, he's working really hard. So does my horse, Octavius. Same energy.
It really is. And then to speak of the cast, we've forgotten to mention the neighbors up until this point.
Yes.
The poor yuppie bastards who live next to Clark Griswold.
Todd and Margot.
Baby Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yes.
Who's awesome. Well, both of them are really great.
They really are. And it's like the whole movie, like the whole side thing is Clark keeps inadvertently fucking with them. Just over and over.
Well, and also like not going out of his way, but
he doesn't
ruining their like yuppie upper class home.
Yeah, basically, it's just like they don't like each other because they have different ideals. But it seems like the entire point of that couple existing is like they wanted to dunk on yuppies.
Yes. Why is the carpet all wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margot.
Honestly, like, we could have done this podcast with just you and me recreating every role.
I'd have been down
Get
for
Katie
it.
in here
Yeah.
too, and the three of us could just do the entire movie as a radio production.
Oh, it's so good. Like and like the next my next part was going to be the acting / physical acting, and most of the physical acting is Chevy as Clark accidentally doing something that destroys part of the yuppie's home.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's also the hijinks of like him doing the classic stepping on a rake gag.
Yeah.
Except this time it's with loose floorboards in the attic.
And about 5 times too many, but it's still funny each time he gets hit in the head.
That's a good use of a joke where it's like the punchline should have ended here, but if you go a few steps further, it gets funnier somehow.
Oh yeah, it's the
My
principle
favorite.
of it's funny, it's not funny anymore. Okay, we circled back around to it being funny again.
Get funny again.
But yeah, there's the amazing physical comedy. Love Clark tries putting up the lights by himself on his house. So I love the fake out the first time where it's like he almost falls off the ladder. And then the joke is actually the ladder just suddenly collapses and he's just left sitting there going, what the hell was that?
Well, and then he falls off the roof.
And catches the gutter.
Yes.
But what he doesn't realize is the gutter, as he's pulling it down, trying to stop from falling, there's a large frozen shaft of ice in the gutter because this is Chicago, and it slides like it
With
zooms.
mountains.
It zooms out of the gutter and just straight through the window of Todd and Margot's house, destroying their CD player.
I think the only people who have it worse than Clark in the movie are Todd and Margot.
Yeah, because it continues. It's like there's that. There's when the lights finally cut. Like when the lights, he's finally getting them, and they keep going on and off because he doesn't understand where he's actually plugged them in so that they'll turn on. When they keep going on
With
and
a
off,
switch.
it's so bright. Todd and Margot keep getting blinded. Then they go out and then they can't see, and it keeps happening to the point where I think Todd falls down the stairs.
Yeah.
Todd
Yes.
falls down the stairs, yes.
Then there's that great cutaway to Margot, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, is just sitting on the floor crying
Well, no,
over her.
she's like trying to clean a stain, and she's sobbing the whole
Yes.
time. Just utterly broken.
Which sets up my favorite object through their window is the second time when he has to replace the tree and he cuts down the new tree, which is even a lot more taller than the tree originally got.
That's such a
And
good
when it
conversation.
falls, they're like they're at dinner.
They telegraph it. They telegraph it
it's
so
like,
hard.
Maybe we were wrong in considering.
Should we have
not-
That's right.
Should we have? Maybe we should have gotten a tree this year.
And then bam!
Where are we going to find a tree at this hour, Todd? Smash.
Christmas Eve. It was where we're going to find it now.
Yeah.
He delivers that line.
Oh, that's
It
right. That's right. Okay.
It's Christmas Eve. Where are we going to find it? It's like, I don't know, Todd. Smash.
And then
it
the
comes-
slow pulling of the tree out of the.
But the thing is, when it comes through, Todd is leaning back in his chair a little bit, and so it completely knocks him over, and he goes over and just everything. But that's my, even though it's telegraphed and everything, that's my favorite use of that object through the window for them, because it's like right at dinner and right when they're considering the fact that they could be good people. And they could have chosen to be really great people. And,
Well, they were just discussing whether or not they should have been more festive.
Well, but they were like they were the couple, like where you were talking earlier about the sentiment and cynicism, and they were like a pure.
Oh yeah, they're firmly on the cynicism side.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
they were having a moment where they could have considered being, sentimental, and
What
Clark
you're saying
destroys
is,
it.
What you're saying is that everything bad that happens to him happens because they're not in the Christmas spirit.
Exactly.
Well, it's like the first full conversation you hear them have as they see Clark going up to the roof to put on the lights, and he goes, and I forget, I think it's Margot who goes, do you think he'll get lucky and he'll fall and break his neck? And I forget, the other one responds, I think he'll fall, but we won't be lucky enough to
break his neck. Yep.
Yeah, realistically, that bonus check that Clark got would probably be spent on home repairs for them, fixing their windows.
Probably not, though.
No.
But they get it even harder the rest of Christmas Eve because they get into a fight over that because she wants him to go over and have it out with Clark. And he refuses.
She gets attacked by a squirrel
And a
Yeah,
dog.
the squirrel.
and the
then-
dog.
And,
Yeah.
and so she kicks him out. And then when the SWAT team knocks,
You're going to have to kick down the
that
goddamn
goddamn
door.
door.
She thinks it's Todd, and then the SWAT team storms in, and she just starts screaming.
That was probably my favorite.
That's the last you see of them in the movie.
Because they're done. Because I guess Todd left, right?
Well, their next scene would be like talking to their real estate agent trying to
Oh
move.
yeah, 100%. It's just, and that's like the physical comedy is crazy, and the regular everyone inside their characters acting, everyone has it down. I think like the subtle physical comedy of Clark and Cousin Eddie talking while they're going through the Walmart, and Eddie is just hoisting because he has his dog Snot, and apparently Snots. And he goes through so much food. Like every time they pass a display, he's hefting another thing of dog food.
Something that's bigger.
Yeah.
Because it was a 6-pack of cans first, and then he's throwing the big 40-pound bag of.
Without missing a beat.
on
All
top.
while they're casually discussing like Clark wants to help Eddie give his kids a good Christmas.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of that, I did not notice this gag for years. It's like I told you about it, and you said, oh yeah, no, it was right there. It's just one of those things that just popped out at me all of a sudden one year watching it. I never noticed Clark just suddenly just grab a small set, a couple pair like of light bulbs, set it on top, and then and then Eddie just without missing a beat, another thing of dog food, smash.
Even bigger.
And it's like, and it's not just the actors, but everyone had the characters down pat. Like one of my favorite scenes. Again, because I didn't really know what it was, but when I finally noticed it a few years in, when Clark and Eddie are in the living room, and everything, it's all decked out for Christmas, and they're just walking around talking, and Eddie's got the dickie on, but he's got the white like turtleneck over it that is so sheer you see the dickie through the shirt
And the pants.
and the.
With the shoes.
And the most perfect embodiment of Cousin Eddie as a character in Clark's life is when the little wooden spinny thing.
Like the windmill, I think it is.
Yeah, he looks at it and he's like, oh, he's like kind of curious at how it works. Touches one of the little pieces, it
Smash.
falls apart.
And Clark spends the rest of the scene trying to put it back together. But with no reaction, no anger reaction. He's just like, oh, I expect that.
He knows what Eddie is. Yeah.
And he's just trying
An
to put it
agent
back
of
together.
chaos.
Yep.
Yeah, and to follow that up, he spends the rest of the scene just cracking walnuts in the living room, letting the shells fall on the floor. And they do such a good job of succinctly summing up like character relations. Like I sort of alluded to it earlier, like Ellen and her mom. Like when she's in the kitchen with Audrey and they're prepping dinner, and she hits the iconic line of, "Look, it's the holidays and we're all in misery," and she lights a cigarette because she's stressed out that her parents are here. And from like at least 2 rooms away, her mom in the living room goes, "Ellen, are you smoking?"
Again.
Yeah, and she goes, "No, mother." Puts the lettuce down. Hard chop. Cut to next scene.
I think my favorite Audrey joke was the he doesn't have to sleep with me because
Well,
Russ
I'm
has
sleeping
to,
with your father.
I'm sleeping with your father. It's like I have nightmares thinking
About
about
what
what
he
he
does
does
when
when
I'm
I'm not in the same bed with him. I thought that was a perfect joke for the sibling rivalry that they had. But still, they honestly, like you said earlier, Chris, is like this is a family that literally, honestly loves each other.
Oh, yeah.
Fully and completely, even in the regular familial jousts and bouts, so it's like,
Oh, yeah.
I really love that, and the fact that both Juliette Lewis and Johnny Galecki both they were kids, and they were typical tweens, I guess in this case Audrey would be a teenager by now, wouldn't she? But they were still honestly portrayed as part of a loving family.
Oh yeah.
And that they did love their parents and they did honor their parents. And like you said, it's like, and Audrey goes out of her way to stick up. It's like, I can pick on them, but nobody else can. It's they're really well portrayed in that as the
Sincerely.
good kids. Yes, sincerely.
That's the thing. It's like that's the crux of the movie, where it's like, I mean, the whole point is like, yes, the holidays are going to be chaotic, and it's like these may be people you love, but they can be insufferable at times. But ultimately, you're there in the spirit of the holiday to love each other and be there for each other, and that's what it comes down to. And at the same time, it's not shy about it's doing it in a comedic way, but it's like, yeah, but if you're going to be under the same roof for a while, it's gonna get wild.
Yeah, that many people of that many generations forced to cohabitate. Yeah.
Yeah, and to say nothing of the finale, where the entire third act, I didn't really piece this together. The entire third act is Christmas Eve, and everything crescendos in a way where it's like dinner goes wrong.
Dinner goes wrong. The tree gets burned up. The dog gets into the garbage.
Clark snaps over the tree and ends up losing it.
I guess the cat was earlier, right?
No, the cat is the reason the lights die.
Yeah, the cat chews through the lights, gets zapped,
they
dies.
have to get rid of a chair.
They have to get rid of a chair.
There's the squirrel.
There's the squirrel in the tree. Yeah.
Then there's Eddie's last-minute Christmas gift to Clark of kidnapping his boss. Because I see, again, the nice subtlety is you only see it a couple of times, but it's very, until he says it outright, you don't know how important the pool is to the movie that he wants to get for his family.
Right.
To the point where he's counting on his bonus to cover the check he wrote for the deposit.
The $7,500.
So that he can do this all again, like invite everyone there again and invite the same sort of chaos.
Well, that's the
just
thing.
with a pool now.
Again, it's a nice testament to Clark's character. He overdid it, and he basically he kind of leapt out ahead without consulting anyone, especially Ellen. But it's like the idea was for the most part, to have everyone here at the holiday so he can announce, we're getting a pool, and then you're all going to come back out and be here for the dedication.
Mm-hmm.
Even Eddie?
I can't swim, Clark. I know Eddie.
I know Edward. Eddie. I guess it wasn't Edward yet. Eddie, yes. We talked about the pool, which gave the moment to where the best dream sequence of a pool since Fast Times at Ridgemont High that recalled Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes, thank you, Nicolette Scorsese.
Was that?
Yes.
Oh, because she played Mary, right?
Yes.
And is she a Scorsese?
Well, she is a Scorsese, yes. I don't know if she is one of the Scorseses, but
Right.
she's definitely a Scorsese.
But she totally played Phoebe Cates.
That's something I was going to bring up. Is something I love about this movie is every side gag is a great gag on its own, but no part of this movie is wasted. None of it is just like a set off little thing just to have in there. Like that gag is just part of Clark's once I get the pool in, it's going to be great. Part of his hopes and dreams for getting that bonus. The gag of Eddie emptying his chemical toilet into the sewer is like, oh, of course he would. He's Eddie. But then it comes back at the end because it's part of what. It's the reason Clark's tree goes up. It's the reason things happen at the end that they do.
And it allows Santa Claus to come?
Well, he flies.
She is not related to Martin Scorsese.
Okay. I was wondering.
But yeah, there's no wasted part of this movie. It threads together in a way that makes sense.
The only thing I felt that maybe a couple gags went on longer than they needed to,
Which is shocking coming from you.
Exactly.
The
But
king
then,
of making a gag go on for too long.
But then it's like, and I'm going to reference the sled moment, which I thought was okay. They did it when he zooms down, but then it's now in the street and it's like, okay, this is going on. But then I totally loved, and it came like we were talking earlier about the planks hitting him in the head. It's like it went past this is too much and came back to this is still funny.
If I had to rank parts of the movie, honestly, over the years, that's become my least favorite.
Same.
But it sets up very important things. One, again, Clark doesn't know when to reel it in.
Right.
And it gives us the Eddie's hair part lines, which are absolutely amazing.
It gives us hair part lines, and it also extends Clark's character as sort of an inventor in what he creates for his company. and all these weird household items that maybe more than they need to be.
He's in some sort of food manufacturing business because the report he's supposed to give to his boss to help him out at a trade conference is about a non-nutritive. He's like he works for like Unilever or some sort of equivalent.
All right.
And it has to be some sort of corporation like that because in the Walmart scene, Eddie asks him if his company was the one responsible for poisoning all those people in India.
Yep.
No, we missed out on that one.
We missed out on that one.
Lines like that. This movie perfectly embodies my favorite kind of humor, which is just the flat, straight delivery kind of humor. Because so many of the jokes and the one-liners in this movie would have been very easy to play over the top and over comedic, but it's very much like Airplane in that sense of we're saying something funny, but we don't know. The characters don't know that it's funny.
Well, that and it's just like just it's the kind of, especially from Clark, the kind of dry, like off the cuff response that he knows was going to fly over the head of whoever he's talking to.
Well, there's that, and then there's one of my favorite lines in the movie, which is when Eddie and Catherine and the kids show up, and somebody remarks about Ruby Sue. Her eyes aren't crossed anymore, and completely straight. Cousin Eddie says, "Yeah, when you know it, she falls down a well, her eyes goes crossed. She gets kicked by a horse, eyes go
mule.
Kicked by a mule, eyes go back."
I don't know.
Yeah, like. That sort of line would be so easy to play over the top, but just the way that Randy Quaid delivers it, like, yeah, that's what happened. Just such a ridiculous fucking
That's
line.
life, you know?
Yeah.
Kids nowadays.
But I think especially Chevy's performance as Clark in this movie really shaped part of my humor in that regard, because I love that kind of humor too, to the point where it's like that's my response to stressful situations. It's I have a newel post moment.
Yeah.
I call it because that
Fix
moment,
the newel post.
Yeah, exactly. He just had finished having his angry breakdown and cutting down a tree in their like neighborhood just to have one to set up, and he has the conversation with Ellen where he sort of loses it in the bathroom, and then he just comes out and he touches the newel post and it jiggles because it's not steady, and he just, without saying a word, just turns on the chainsaw,
Which he had happened to bring inside to the bathroom to clean up.
We needed a coffin. I'm tree. And he just calmly just chainsaws the newel post off and just goes, "Fix the newel post." I love that kind of response where it's just like, problem solved.
Yeah.
What I did love, even if I thought some of the gags may or may not have been great, but what I did love is that whatever gags that Clark does, it's isolated, and like when he falls through, when Ellen comes back and pulls down the attic thing that he's been locked up.
Not Ellen. It's or is it Ellen?
I thought it was Ellen when she was
I
coming.
can't remember.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's right. Doris locks him up in there.
And he's been locked up in there, and he's been watching the home movies, and he comes falling through. This is after the planks hit him in the face like 18 times, and when he finally does fall off the roof into the bushes, Ellen, everybody else, the only people that actually get the butt of Clark's stuff is Todd and Margot.
Oh yeah.
Well, everyone else is just used to it by now.
And maybe used to, but it's like nobody notices that he's locked up in this attic, you know.
Usually amongst his family, it's anything that like that is going to bounce back on him.
Yep. Ellen just calls him in for dinner and is like, "Oh, why are you in the bushes? Did you fall off the roof again?"
Again, shaping my humor, where she calls out for him to come in for dinner, doesn't know where he is, and you just hear him shout from the bushes, "Coming!" Oh man, it smells great.
It smells good. And the thing is, she's the one that discovers that it's the light switch in the garage that turns on the full light, but she never tells him.
Nope, she just lets him think that he fixed it.
She lets him, and she just leaves it on, and they leave it on for the rest.
That is a supporting wife right there.
And it goes back again to the whole, it's like Clark is our guy. It's like we know what he is, and we love him in spite or because of. It's like it's like it's great.
Well, it's like his coworker says in one of the scenes, is like, "You are the last true family man."
And it's true.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, wow, that's a great. And it's like even the trip to get the tree at the beginning, and it's like when they're in Chicago and they're going to the suburbs of Chicago, and there turns out to be mountains because they actually filmed it in Colorado or whatever.
Oh no!
And,
He clearly drove out of his way.
and they're doing the Christmas carols and.
Why are we doing this again, Dad?
Why are we doing
We're
this
doing this because people forgot how to have a good old-fashioned family Christmas.
And then they take an extended walk into the woods when they finally crash into the
Audrey, who
farm.
despite being dressed for winter in Chicago, starts freezing, like literally freezing.
That is my favorite joke because it's like, oh, she'll see it later. Her eyes are frozen.
Her eyes are frozen. She looks like she's lost on top of K2. It's just.
And the thing is, she's literally trying to, and you hear the ice cracking because she does love her dad, and she kind of loves the fact that she did this, but she hates the fact that she's frozen. And because when they finally get home and she's fine, she's actually cool with the fact that they went all the way to buttfuck to get this tree.
I think everyone else in the family is like, they want to go along with the good old-fashioned family Christmas, but it's not worth to the effort and extent that Clark is going.
True.
They know that he's going overboard.
Until Russ sees Mary in the mall. And it's okay.
If there's one thing that dates this movie, the only thing is like I would love to just have snipped out is just in the montage of shopping, they show the old credit card machines.
Yes.
That's the only thing that actively dates the movie.
Well, if the internet goes down, they still need to use it, you know.
Yeah, those things still exist.
They do. They do.
They're there.
I've used one a long time
Yeah.
ago. I used one.
However, though, the new cards you can't because they don't have the. Well, I guess if you flip them over,
No, they don't have
No.
imprint.
they
You can't
don't have the imprint. You can't use them.
They got rid of that so people couldn't like
do that.
Make impressions of
Make
them to get the
impressions, yeah.
numbers. Yeah.
So it's like if you have new cards, you can't use the machines.
I think the only other thing I wanted to touch on, just specifically to talk about one of my favorite gags in the movie, is the editing. Like everything else is key, but also in the editing booth where you've trimmed this down to get it into a proper flow, they knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. And I was like, again, I just wanted to have an excuse to talk about one of my favorite gags in the movie, and it is the attic scene, where after Clark accidentally traps himself in the attic. And he spends the time he's stuck up there because they've all gone to the mall, and they're like, he's off doing his thing. Ellen's dad basically goes, "Look, I got to go eat because I have to take my back pills. We have to go."
And it's like Ellen, and it's like he's in the attic for the whole
He's the
time.
only one who's not going,
and
yeah.
nobody's worried. So it's like
Well, at this point, they're probably glad to not be around him for an hour.
true that.
Yeah, but so he's up there and he's trying to keep warm. Oh, there's two interesting things in this scene that I'll get to. He's trying to keep warm, and he finds the old family movies that reignite his passion for why he's doing what he's doing, and because he wants that feeling again. He wants that feeling for himself and for his family. Mm-hmm. The gag of like him hitting, he hits the boards. There's also the gag of him standing in the wrong spot on the roof and falling through the roof, and he lands on the bunk bed in one of the bedrooms, which is only, I feel like that bunk bed is only there, one, to catch him, and two, to make sure like it's high, just high enough that he couldn't conceivably like crawl through and get out of the attic. I'm pretty sure it's the only reason.
Without doing more damage to the hole.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's Russ's room, right?
No, it's not because
It's-
Yeah, it's
that's
Russ's
where the
room.
grandparent. That's where Ellen's parents.
yeah,
are,
because
right?
because that's where the
'Cause-
posters on the roof, on the ceiling, and the granddad's looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also to point out, the other major poster in that room that you see behind the granddad's head is two turtles mating. I think.
Look, the 80s were a different time. There was no internet. There was no.
There was not.
It has something to do. I can't remember who pointed that out, but
I know that
it was
80s.
turtles.
I was there in the 80s.
But yeah, there's that, and then that's like the one weird thing about the setup is like, why does Russ have bunk beds? But to keep Clark from falling through the attic and ending the scene early, I think.
Well, doesn't he have friends? He would have sleepovers, wouldn't he?
Why would he? That would necessitate bunk beds.
Let's not spend too much time on the
Well, back in
logic
the
of that.
'80s, it's like your
There's-
buddy would sleep in the bottom bunk.
There's the attic has one other great gag, which is Clark, as he's hiding presents, finds the Mother's Day present that he hid from Ellen and then forgot about. And then the final one is, as he's watching the movies and falling in love. This is purely an editing joke that I'm in love with. While he's watching the movies, Ray Charles' "The Spirit of Christmas" is playing. And in that song, when Ellen goes to open up the attic and he falls through, right before, they time the music perfectly, because there's a moment where Ray, in between verses, just gives this little ha-ha kind of chuckle as he's singing. And they time that ha-ha to hit in the song just the second before Ellen pulls the chain and opens the door and he falls through.
And they immediately cut to an outside scene or somebody coming in that has nothing to do with the fall through the ceiling.
It's a perfect edit. It's a joke done in editing that perfectly buttons the scene, because Ray Charles goes, ha-ha, whoosh.
All right, so does that about wrap us up?
That about it. I mean, well, I will. In conjunction with editing, I went looking, because it's like I never hear anything about this. It was something that I thought about. I'd heard a little bit about it, but I don't hear a lot. And it was I'd only ever heard of one deleted scene from the movie, and that was when they're driving to get to the Christmas tree lot. They actually do have they're supposed to have a small scene there. And that's the only thing I read an article about that. I was like, that's weird. Are there not a lot of deleted scenes? And I went and looked. I was like, no, there's a ton of alternate takes and deleted scenes that aren't in the movie. And in a testament to the editing, it's like, I was looking through this going, okay, cool. It's like they could have had extra stuff in there. They could have done what a lot of movies do and have little expanded moments. But to their credit, they cut down and they did an excellent job editing, to the point where this flows together smoothly. Even the stuff that you think takes too long doesn't take as long as it could.
Right.
And it's such a tight, cohesive narrative for a movie that's essentially just a holiday, just Christmas movie to
and to get it back to the house, and get it back to the family at the house, having family Christmas, and making that the focal point, as opposed to having the only thing outside of their family is Todd and Margot, and maybe a couple scenes at the office.
And it's just a testament to the fact that they actually cared a lot about this movie. And they haven't. It's like I don't know if it's just a matter of they don't want to, or they've never added any of this deleted stuff onto home releases. And I think that's great, honestly. That you don't need anything more than this movie for this. I mean, there would just be a bunch of small extra jokes that were cut that would have, I guess, been funny, but would have bloated the film.
But there's a reason they were cut, probably.
There's probably a reason they were cut. I mean, honestly, it's like there's an extended version of the scene with the family wandering through the snow. There's them decorating the tree and getting covered in sap. It's like, no, it's like that cut from Clark in the middle of the just swamped by the tree, going really full, a lot of sap, and then cutting to them in bed as he's slowly getting stuck to everything he touches. It's like, no, that's great. That's perfect. You don't need more than that.
Love the sap moment.
Yeah. It's hard for me to I feel silly when I express that I would die on the hill of this is great. This is a great movie. I know, and because I'll qualify it. It's a great movie to me. Mm-hmm. And sure, some of that is probably the fact that it's an annual tradition. But it's like when I look objectively at this movie, it's like, no, it's a good.
It's a masterpiece of comedic storytelling.
Exactly, storytelling, timing, everything from cast to production preserved it.
Yeah, I'm on board with you.
Yeah, it's like you won't see it in a Criterion Collection, but I'd argue.
In a rare twist, I think Stan is the only one not on board with us.
Well, I think Vacation, the original Vacation, is a masterpiece, and a lot of those '80s movies that Chevy was in, like Caddyshack and such, I think those are masterpieces.
I think Caddyshack was late '70s. Well, may have been early '80s.
It may have been 79. You're right.
It's right there on the edge. Yeah.
But I thought it was after Meatballs, so it would have been like 80 in the sense.
I think okay, you may be right.
But
Because the Christmas Vacation is 89.
and he's involved in a lot of those late 70s, early 80s. Raunchy comedies. I don't know what you would call them in genre style, but the idea that like the first Vacation is great. I figured out. I guess I've never seen European because of
You're fine. It's a lesser entry.
But
Caddyshack was 80.
Oh, okay.
so and I think he's great in Caddyshack. And again, that I think Caddyshack and Meatballs are some of the most, and of course Animal House and stuff like that are the. So I'm not sure if I would put it in up there with them, but again, in my defense, I'm also a fan of Porky's, the original Porky's. So it's like, and I think that's a perfect gem as well. So it's like me saying that, not putting Christmas Vacation up there. It's like that's probably not saying much. My bar's not high in that sense. But the idea that I love Porky's, it's like kind of dilutes.
Well, I'll say it like this because I thought about it because I once thought about it because I heard someone say they didn't like the movie once, and it was someone I didn't like anyway. But well, I thought about it, and I think the thing is like if it's not your kind of comedy, I get that. It's not your cup of tea. Humor's subjective. But it's like I would definitely argue to the death over someone who would say this is not a good movie.
In the John Hughes realm, it's definitely better than Home Alone.
You know what?
Which I think people think is like one of the great examples.
I would be on your side in that
of comedy and physical comedy, and I think it's really bad, and I hate Culkin's Kevin. I hate that character. I do love Catherine O'Hara in that film, but the thing is, I think my thing with John Hughes is I think I like his drama, his more serious emo stuff better than his comedies. But the thing is, I think 16 Candles and Breakfast Club and Some Kind of Wonderful and all those are great comedies. But so it's like me saying, again, me being on board or not on board with y'all that it's one of the perfect things. My bar's not that high. I love Porky's.
You don't have to qualify. It's cool.
And I love Porky's too.
Okay, all right. Now the bar's
right?
lowering. Oh, geez. But yeah, I think it can be hard to argue that it's the funniest, but it's definitely a great movie, and it's definitely worth watching at least once.
And again, go back to the family stuff.
And
the sincere family.
And it's one of those. It's one of those movies where I have such regard for it that when it's one of the few things that I instant bought a steelbook for. It was like when Best Buy put them out years and years ago. They put a bunch of different Christmas, I guess they're the ones they had the rights to, the Christmas movies out on steelbook, and I spotted the Christmas Vacation was like one of the few times I've ever been like, well, I'm walking out with this, and I did not regret it. And I think to take us out, I think Dave has a special reading he'd like to do for us.
Yes, Chris asked me to do this on the way over here. So give me a second to get into character here.
Let's set the scene. Clark has found out that his Christmas bonus this year is not going to be the money he thought it was. It's going to be a Jelly of the Month club enrollment.
Hey, if any of you are looking for any last-minute gift ideas for me, I have one. I'd like Frank Shirley, my boss, right here, tonight. I want him brought from his happy holiday slumber over there on Melody Lane with all the other rich people, and I want him brought right here with a big ribbon on his head. And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
That and the other sort of mini rant he has after when people are trying to go home and leave. When it's a
that one's right above this. Hold on.
Go ahead, go for it.
Where do you think you're going? Nobody's leaving. Nobody's walking out on this fun, old-fashioned family Christmas. No, we're all in this together. This is a full-blown 4-alarm holiday emergency here. We're going to press on, and we're going to have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye. And when Santa squeezes his fat white ass down that chimney tonight, he's going to find the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house. You're nutty, Clark.
Don't
piss me off, Art.
And he punctuates that by doing the rapid blinking, which is I know is like a special notation for someone's losing it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we did it. We managed to get the Christmas in July episode in on the next to last day of July, I think. Yeah. I can never remember, how
Technically
many days.
still counts.
Yeah. So we got one more of your perfect 10s left to go in August. Do you want to tell them what it is?
Sure. Well, since Dave has won the coveted Halloween spot, I'm going to go ahead and continue this with another theme, and go ahead and I'll do what I consider my favorite Halloween themed movie, spooky movie, and we are going to go to the Northeast on the rainiest night possible in the 50s, and we're gonna have a good old murder mystery. We're gonna watch Clue.
I love it. I can't wait for that one. And then in September, it's my turn through December, and we're going to make it fucking weird.
The winter of Dave's content.
Exactly. All right. So, wow, I haven't had to do an intro in a long time. Or, I'm sorry, an outro in a long time. To be fair, I haven't had to do an intro either.
Intro, outro.
Stan, if people want to reach out to you or follow you online, where can they do that at?
Get me in
Okay,
Switzerland.
Chris, that's it for Stan. If people want to reach out to you online, where can they find you at?
I mean, I don't know why, but if you want to fight me on Twitter, I'm Chris the OK.
All right, and if you want to follow me personally, you can do that on Instagram at DBHensley. If you want to keep up with Long Walk Productions, you can visit us online at longwalk.us or search for Long Walk Productions and Long Walk Podcasts on Facebook. To see more of our original work or hear past episodes that are no longer streaming, you can follow the YouTube links in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening, and if you enjoy this show or any of the shows on the Long Walk Podcast Network, please make sure to leave us a rating and a review on whatever platform you are listening on.
Peace out.
You about ready to do some kissing?